log in, do your little talking, and then I'll be prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it started so people can see what's being said and whatnot. Hopefully, I have a connection again. One of these days, Starlink will get up and running. Maybe Twitter's been purchased by this time. All right, we are.
Sorry, I'm muted.
That's okay. We're
Yeah,
live.
don't take that silence as not a confirmation that was a funny joke. That was a good joke.
Yeah.
I
S-
missed it.
Yeah. So far we have my mom and Jana are in here, and I'm just gonna let you guys know that we stepped off to the side there for a little bit, had a nice conversation. We pulled in a couple people from the wolf pack, and we had a good, I think, kind of talk on the side, and had an opportunity to be able to kind of look at what's kind of going on in the community and say like, hey, can we take a step aside here and see how we can make things work out? And I think I think we're trying to do the best that we can for the community to make sure that we're not creating divisiveness between ourselves. I think more than anything, we desire community amongst us, and so in a community like a family, you have brothers and sisters, and sometimes they get into little squabbles. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get along really, really well, and they back each other up really hardcore. So. And I think we had a moment to step off the live stream and just kind of talk things through a little bit, and I really appreciate, both Pantheon and Mediocre for just kind of hanging out with me for a little bit. And Jay was talking with us, and Christopher was in there, and we had a really good talk. So and I appreciate everything that you guys had to say.
Yeah, thank you. And I just ultimately want to let the community know that it's really truly about the community, and that's all we all care about. We want you guys to be safe and protected, and we don't want people getting, you know, um, bad information and stuff like that, right? And you know that the video could have came out much better. I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I don't want to really get into it, but I just want to let people know that there's no animosity between me, Pantheon, Casey, or anybody. We're working together as a team behind the scenes to, um, you know, kind of get the proper information out, and that's where we stand now.
And yeah, I'll jump in. I would echo those sentiments. I've got nothing but respect for Mediocre Trader. He's a straight up guy. He's a stand up dude. We had a good conversation offline. We're not going to bring all of that into this live stream. I would say, Casey, I would be your little brother any day of the week. But all joking aside, in all seriousness, Mediocre's got the right intentions, and we're good to go. There's nothing but respect and appreciation here, guys. So let's get back to our
No, 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 no. You don't get off that easy, buddy. You're gonna have to tell me what month, because I think we're the same age. So because you just called me old, your older brother,
That's right. That's right. You
and
want to you
I think I might want to be the younger brother here. What month?
That's funny stuff.
December.
December of
Yes,
'76.
sir. Yes, sir.
Dang it, I'm the older brother. Damn it.
I I rolled the dice on that one. I rolled the dice.
I mean,
I'm the older brother too.
if we're oh, all right, fine. I'll
Wait,
be
wait,
the older.
wait. 76?
Yeah, 76.
Oh, I'm the younger brother.
There you
Okay.
go.
I'm the
I'm the
oldest
younger
brother.
brother.
That makes me the middle child. That's never a good spot.
Dang it.
But I think everybody can hear from the tenor of this conversation, right? We're all cool, guys, and we're all good to go. So now I can slip out of it. We can get back to our beautiful stock. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need to do that. Was I don't know what is going on today.
Well, luckily for us, not a whole lot, but we are up right now, so that's a good thing. Speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead, since you guys are kind of queuing me in to do it, I'm going to go ahead and refresh everything that's on the screen. And this is a good opportunity to start taking a look at our numbers. Let me just log into Fidelity real quick here.
Could I just let you know that we're sitting on the 161.8 fib level?
Absolutely.
That's where we're sitting right now, buddy.
Underneath or over?
Above it.
Nice.
We're on top of it.
Very, very nice. Alrighty, let's move into the other screen here real quick, guys, so we can kind of take a look at the numbers. Since I haven't done a full run through on the numbers yet this morning since market open, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the numbers just so we have a complete picture of what's going on here. Today's Monday. I won last week in price predictions. I got 5 predictions in a row. I can't believe I got all 5 days. I don't remember when the last time when that was. I'm that terrible at it. But I did get it right 5 days in a row last week, and I didn't give a prediction today. So I'm going to have to just take a 0 for the day today because I don't think it would be fair at this point to be putting in a price prediction, but I'll give price predictions for the rest of the group. Eric had 16 to 19, Keto had 14.78 to 17.78, and Monty had 15.5 to 18.5. Taking a look at short exempt volume, that was 61.8%, or sorry, 61.8 thousand shares from last Friday utilization. We are on day number 53 straight days of utilization being 100%. Day over day price increase last Friday was 1.9%, 6% down. And moving on to the off exchange, and I'm overdue for medication for my arm. I'm talking fast and high. Off exchange currently at 46.45%, which is lower than I would expect at this time of the day. It's much, much lower. However, the CBOE EDGX is at 15.9%, which is much higher than what we're seeing for the typical 30-day average. These EDGX is not high enough for me to say that it balances out because the total between those is about 61, 62-ish percent. Yeah, so that's not what I would expect by this time of the day. So it's a little bit low, which could be part of the reason why we're up 1.09% as it stands. Moving down to Ortex, let's take a look at that and see where we're at for the day. Ortex is reporting borrowed shares of 940,000 shares for the day today. It's getting pretty close to 1 million shares. Which is going to increase the estimated current short share interest of the free float to 19.2%. Cost to borrow for the day today is a little bit lower than what we saw last week at 2.03%. And moving over to the top right hand side of the screen, what you're going to see over there is shares owned by institutions at 187.499 million. Let's give that a refresh and see what we're up to now. No thanks. 187,855, so a little bit lower than what we've seen in the past. Higher. It went from 187,499 to 187,855. That's a pretty good chunk of shares there. 400,000 or so. Moving down to Max Payne. Max Payne for the week so far is currently today at $17.50. And the options chain. Refreshing that. Highest amount of current volume for the day today is showing up at a $16.50 price. Last week it was $17.50. Currently at $16.50, it's 8.2 thousand contracts. On the puts at a $16 strike price, that is down from $1 from last Friday. There is currently 9.7 thousand contracts. So the highest amount of volume for the puts is slightly higher than the highest amount of volume for the calls. The calls are 16.5, which is actually lower, so those are in the money. The $16 puts are out of the money. I need to take. I'm gonna have to go take some medication here real soon, guys. I'm starting to get like lightheaded. I'm gonna pass out. Give me 1 second. Kind of moving a couple screens around here. Let's take a deep dive into Ortex's data here and just kind of see what some of these numbers look like. Here's our utilization at 53. Is it 53 straight days? Yeah, 53 straight days of utilization being 100%. On loan amount decreasing day over day from Thursday to Friday it went from 128 to 6 or I'm sorry, from Friday to Monday it went from 128.64 million shares on loan to 128.2. The on loan average age per day also increasing still, and the estimated short share interest of the free float currently day over day increasing just barely, but from 19.16 to 19.12. I said increasing, I meant decreasing. So those numbers look pretty good. Again, I think we're really kind of waiting for the on loan average age per day to start to dip. That's when we'll start to see our next run up. We did have a dip back here on the 12th. Historically speaking, 15 business days is about how many days we need to see before we see some kind of increase from that dipping of that indicator. So far, we've only traded 3, 6, 7 days. Today's day 7. So we're about halfway through that. Orders by Fidelity customers, AMC and GME are not on the top 10 list as we probably have low volume, but I'm not positive because I haven't looked at it recently. But taking a look at AMC, AMC is in 23rd position with 61% buys to 39% sales. GME is not on the list. Trigger price is $14.87. I put a line up for that earlier this morning. I had, as a rule, one of the people in the community here sent me a link to be able to use to compile the data for out of the money and in the money calls and puts. I haven't had a chance to take a look at that, but I'm just going to take a look right now at shares that have been borrowed so far for the day. I'll have to get his Excel file uploaded on my computer, and then we'll take a look at some of that information through that, and we'll be able to compile it, and I can give you guys an accurate reading instead of what Stonko Tracker is giving you guys. And so I appreciate Ezreal. Big shout out to him for putting together something for me. I do appreciate that. As far as shares borrowed from this morning, it looks like they might have borrowed a few additional shares here just recently. Let me pull up my calculator and calculate what that is. Oh no, it says 716. Let me refresh this and just make sure that this is accurate. It wasn't. There's 0.1. So it looks like just additional 100,000 shares having been borrowed since earlier this morning. That puts us at 1.3 million. 1.3 million shares having been borrowed for the day. Last Friday was 2.15. The fee has gone down from 1.2 to 1.1 with some of the return shares that we've seen here. And I'm going to just read this information off. Actually, this looks accurate. This 96,000 shares that are out of the money is really close to what I pulled up earlier this morning. Earlier this morning when I did the self-calculation, I came up with 96.55. Actually, it's exactly the same number. 96,553 contracts that were out of the money. For the puts on out of the money or in the money, I had 15,482, which is the exact number that they have here. So maybe this information is accurate again. But 429, it's showing 4.9 thousand contracts in the money versus 96,000 that are out. And that's for the calls. And for the puts, we have 15.4 thousand contracts in the money versus 30.4 that are out. The Nasdaq is breaking even. The Dow Jones is down 0.62 and the S&P 500 is down 0.84. We currently have 4,464 decliners to 3,215 advancers. The VIX is up 6.84. IWM is down 0.57. Tesla is down 0.92. Amazon is down 0.24. Cinemark is down 0.63. Doge is up 14%. Let's just take a look at that and see what that looks like just for the fun of it. That's all I'm going to say. Bitcoin is down 0.13, GME is down 1.37, HYMC is down 6.01, Hood is down 0.21, and AMC is up 1.18%. Inflow versus outflow, we currently are down by $4 million roughly. I'm just taking the first two digits minus the second, first two digits of the inflow and outflow. I'm not actually rounding out or anything like that, so I'm just saying that it's off by 4 million. Volume currently 18 million shares. I said there would be somewhere between 20 and 40 million shares traded for the day to day. Let's see what kind of pace we're on with that. Let's see here. $28.6 million shares is what we're on pace for the day today. We're not too far away from breaking 20. Unless we have some kind of late day run that just absolutely starts spiking in price and volume, I don't expect to see volume really tick up too much further. On the weekly interval, just looking at Vortex Indicator, the VI, and the RSI, we have more buying pressure than selling pressure, and it looks what appears to be an imminent crossover either this week or next week. RSI is at 40.82, which is below average. On the daily, there's more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 42.08, which is below average. On the hourly, we have more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 53.01, which is just about down the middle. On a 30-minute interval, we have more selling pressure than buying pressure with an RSI of 57.83, which is above average. And on a 5-minute interval, more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 48.42, which is right down the middle. And I feel like I'm going to pass out. So for those of you who were not on the show earlier today, I had a big fall last night. My dog decided to plant his butt right outside the bathroom door when I went to the restroom, and he is a very, very dark dog and blended in extremely well with the floor as I was not even looking down, and tripped over him and landed right on my right arm, pinned against something else and in two different points. And I don't know if it's broken. I haven't gone to the doctor or anything yet, but it hurts really, really, really badly. And so, yeah, and I need to eat. I haven't taken any breaks yet today since this morning. So I'm going to step away for just like a couple minutes to just grab some pain medication really quickly and maybe eat something so I'm not real loopy. Maybe I'll be back in like 20 minutes. I'll be back for the 1 o'clock reading, and I'll probably just push through to the end of the day. So let me just thank you, Pam. I appreciate it. Let me just take some time to go eat and kind of rest myself, my mind. Eat, sleep, drink. That's what I always tell you guys. Be prepared for the next day. So Brian says cats too. Miss Harris, Mr. Gary Gensler, looking forward to seeing you later today in the Froggy Style chat. How do you work that one out? Citizen Kane says, if you start swelling up, then you either broke or fractured something. So it is swollen. When I raise it above my head, I suddenly get cold chills. So the blood flow is like there's something going on there in the arm. I just don't know what, and it's I have feeling in all my fingers, like I can touch all my fingers. There's nothing major going on there. My I don't know what to call this part. The whatever this muscle is on the bottom side of your arm, your forearm that muscle is completely hard as a rock. Like I can't even, like I'm touching it and I feel like I'm like some kind of like amazing bodybuilder now. So Splinter says go to the ER. I'm gonna tough it out, man. I'm gonna tough it out for a little bit and see if I mean I don't see any. It's not purple and I'm not losing blood flow. My hand feels a little cold and tingly, but not terribly. If I start to lose like some kind of feeling, or if I get tingling sensation in my fingers, I'll probably head in. But I've got enough of a background in first aid and first responder um, background from my work history that I'm not too worried about it yet, and I might kind of just tough through a little bit of pain here. Thank you, Miss Harris. Appreciate it. Captain says it's ligma. I know what that is. Yeah, Brian says walk it off. So I stayed up for a little while last night after I fell, just hoping, and then I told my wife to call me an hour after I went to sleep in case something was wrong there, and she called me and no issues. Why is I just noticed that my Stonko tracker is not popping up on the screen. There, I think that should show it now. There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to stay happy, Ralph. You know, humor goes a long way. If you can scratch your butt, you're okay. Well, I haven't tried that yet. Maybe I'll do that on my break. But I'm gonna head off here, guys, for just a little bit. I know it seems like, to you guys, I was just offline and you just didn't see me, so you're going like, you had all that break time already. What are you talking about? Well, I didn't. We had some really good discussions. Pantheon and um, Mediocre and Jay and Christopher from the Wolfpack, and we had some really good conversations on the side, and just talking about the community as a whole, and where we wanted to see things going in the future, and it was a good conversation, but I was actually doing something, and it wasn't just me being offline. Um, I promise you guys, there's probably very few minutes of my life where not everything is AMC related, and my wife can attest to that more than she probably cared to. Monty says, "So are we done with all the drama?" I don't, it's not up to me, Monty. It's not up to me. My hope is that as a community we can kind of um, look, first and foremost, we have everybody against us. The government doesn't want us to win, or at least it seems like it. Uh, the institutions don't want us to win. There's nobody really that seems to want us to win, and we're the only ones that want to win. And so if we're going to have to, if we're going to start dividing in our own communities, that's exactly what they want. They don't want us to be able to have communities and be able to rely on each other for things like humor, community, just getting together. That's why I created that whole Discord in the first place, was so that we could find a place where we could have poker nights, or just do stuff, as a community. And it's um, we're gonna beat them. We're gonna screw the hedgies. And I'm going to try to do everything that I can in my power to make sure that as a community we stay tight, and I'm going to keep at it. So Gary Gensler says Janet and I are the only ones on retail side. You know what? I got to play you guys something. There's two things that I want to play to you. I used to play him all the time. I used to play Gary Gensler in like the middle of my songs, where he would come on and he talks about his three-part goal. Um, you know what, Yishin? I think that maybe that's not the stance, because there's people in the wolf pack who are on our side, man. And so we got to be really careful when we say things like, what it is you said right there, and I'm actually putting it up for people to see because I'm not trying to use you specifically as an example, but I want everybody to see that, like, these are the kind of comments when we talk about you have to realize there's people in the wolf pack who are part of the community, 100% a part of the community. And when we start saying um, things that are disparaging, or things that are negative, or we're taking and abusing our own people, right? What's the name of the show today, guys? Our troops defended us. Let's defend our troops. And it has nothing to do. We are troops here. We are all troops, and let's defend our own troops. We don't shoot them in the backs. We watch out for our own, because we're the only people we got. That's it. We got us. Nobody else is looking out for us, so we gotta have us. So I'm gonna go to break so this thing can start skyrocketing in price, because you know how I like it does. So I will be back, guys, and I'll see you in a bit. Sorry guys, I didn't come back over and turn the music on for you. But it's time. It's time to take. Hey, Future Whale, how's it going, man? Yeah, that was my fault, Easter Beast. I apologized. I didn't come back to turn on the music for you. But it's time to take a look at our data here, guys. Let's go through it. Man, I hurt. Okay, so I took the medication, and I was just got done off talking to my mom on the phone, and because she's all worried about me, of course, and like any good mom should be. And I was sitting there. I told her, I was like, man, I can't even feel my arm now. My arm doesn't hurt at all. It's just my leg that hurts now. She's like, you need to go in and see the doctor. It's like, yeah, I know, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wait a little while. Me being stubborn, and then I just put my arm down on the armrest right here, and I was like, ooh, that's a little painful. So, but that Percocet, it sure helps wonders. Let's see here. I only have 4, so if I'm not feeling better after 4 Percocet, to the doctor's office it is. Brian says pain pills and booze, good combo. Brian, there's no alcohol yet involved. Easter Beast, I'm just gonna say I don't want to talk about the people. I want to talk about the issues, right? We're still trying to find out if there's I can't say the word, vulnerabilities inside of um, I just lost the name. I can't even think of the name of it right now. Hold on a second. Um, WebEx. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. So, that's what I want to talk about more than anything. I don't care about all the other stuff. I want to talk about the things that I think are most damaging. And if WebEx has some kind of vulnerabilities in it, that's something we should probably try to figure out. Um, because, we don't want to leave ourselves open to uh, just being able to be attacked. And somebody brought up Pantheon brought up a great point. You can also be attacked through Discord and other things too. To which I responded, well, that's funny because I just opened up my Discord all on my own here, and I don't have anything trying to protect people on it. So, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys if you're ever on my Discord, don't just. I mean, I have it. I have the settings set up on there to check and verify links that are posted, but I don't know how good that is. So I have some people who are in the community who do IT work, and I can have them take a look at maybe my Discord and see if there's not ways I can protect the community because I don't want you guys to feel like you can't be someplace and without being attacked by something. Um, but anyways, I just you guys got to just protect yourselves, and I think one of the things that I would say is that two-factor authentication everything that you can. If you have two-factor authentication, it doesn't matter if somebody has your password to get into your account. It's going to be so much harder for them to get into your account if you have two-factor authentication. So just protect yourself. More than anything, just protect yourself. And I would say that that's what you should be doing. Yeah, Christopher is an IT guy, and we were talking to him on the side, and we're gonna start looking. We're gonna as a community, I think we're gonna look real heavily into WebEx and trying to figure out if there are security flaws that are built into it. Um, we'll see what happens. We'll see what we get to, because we don't want to have a once in a lifetime opportunity destroyed by something terrible. Dr. Zeno asked if I chopped the pain pill into fine powder and snorted it. No. Okay, Pantheon, it's good to hear you back. I'm just getting ready to. I was just talking about people are asking questions in the community about, like what's going on with this, that, and the other. And I said, let's just stick to the things that we know we can talk about, which, not specifically about people, but let's talk about some of the issues, possible vulnerabilities that exist or could exist inside of our community. So, We're going to try to focus on that kind of stuff, I think, and I think that's going forward. That's what I want to stick to. And not, I care about the community as a whole. It doesn't matter who it is because I don't want to see people getting screwed by anybody. And I want for this community to walk away healthy and uh, rich beyond they can believe. If anything, I just want to see that you guys are set, and I don't want to see any bad stuff happen. So, but I'm going to take a look at the numbers here. It is time to
And
take a
that's what
look.
makes you a good man, Casey. That's what makes you a good man.
Well, I think we're all good people here, and I think a lot of people, um, and this is Pantheon, by the way, guys. Pantheon is here talking. That was him. Let me make sure I think your voice might have been a little quiet on that.
Oh, let me crank it up.
No, you're good. You're good. I needed to adjust it on my side. I had it set down for music. Let's go ahead and take a look at the data here real quick, guys. I'm going to just do a quick run through. This isn't going to be the long one, and just kind of get an idea for where we stand on the numbers. Starting with the off exchange. An hour ago, it was 46.45% out off the off exchange and 15.9% off the CBOE EDGX. Let's go ahead and refresh that and see where we're at now. 45.83 and 15.76. So the EDGX is getting higher, but the off exchange is going a little bit lower here. It seems like most price discovery that's being hidden right now is going through the ETFs. Looking at Vortex. An hour ago, there was a borrowing of 940,000 shares for the day today, and it's now down to 933,000. That bit of a small change won't have much effect to the estimated current short share interest of the free float at 19.2%. Cost to borrow is about the same as it was an hour ago at 2.03%. Taking a look at the options. Highest amount of volume currently at a $16.50 strike. An hour ago it was 8.2 thousand contracts. It is now 11.4. And on the puts at a $16 strike, there was 9.7 thousand contracts an hour ago. There is now 10.4. So we've had a little bit of a reversal. An hour ago, there was more put volume at its highest amount of volume at the strike price versus calls. And let's take a look at Stonko Tracker. Stonko Tracker and Fidelity. Orders by customers. AMC and GME have low volume, so we're not on the top 10 list. However, AMC is coming in at 23rd on the list here with 61% buys to 39% sales. That's just a 1% higher than what I like to see as a bare minimum. And I do not see GME on the list. So the low volume is keeping them out of the high order list there. $14.87 is SSR trigger price for the day today. Shares borrowed in the last hour, 14. Yep, it looks like another 100K there and 50. So 150,000 shares borrowed in the last hour puts us at 1.45 million shares borrowed for the day today, according to Stonko Tracker. That's a little low. That's actually quite low on the borrowing amount, and you can see that they're starting to pick up a little bit as far as the available amount of shares that they have to loan. The fee is at 1.1%. And the calls, I think, might be accurate again, showing 4.9 thousand contracts in the money on the calls versus 96.5 that are out of the money. 15.4 thousand contracts are in the money on the puts versus 30.4 that are out of the money. And the Nasdaq is up 0.28. The Dow Jones is down 0.21. The S&P 500 is down 0.49. We currently have 4,289 decliners in the market to 3,368 advancers. The market is definitely declining, with the VIX up 6.27, IWM is down 0.05, Tesla is down 0.5, Amazon is up 0.13, Cinemark is down 0.03, Doge is up 15.19, Bitcoin is down 0.02, GME is down 1.27, HYMC down 7.33%, which is very odd. I'm kind of a little taken aback by that, considering the market's heading down. Hood is up 0.15, and AMC is up 1.15%. Our inflow versus outflow, we currently have 43 to 45, so 2 million more in outflow than inflow, with 19.82 million shares having been traded for the day-to-day out of the 20 to 40 million that I suggested would be the total volume by the end of the day. Let's see what kind of pace we're on. Oh, shoot, hold on a second. One of these days, I'm just going to make a formula for this. 26.5 million shares traded by the end of the day is the pace that we're on. Of course, that's probably going to remain very close to the same because we are kind of entering in towards the last portion of the day where volume does tend to pick up a little bit. So the downwards decrease on that pace might taper off, and we might actually be somewhere around 25 or 26 million. On the weekly, there's more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 40.89. On the daily, we have more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 42.2, which is below average. On the hourly, we have more equal amounts of buying and selling pressure. There might be slightly more buying pressure. It's really hard to say on this one. With RSI at 54.16. On a 30-minute interval, we have more selling pressure than buying pressure with an RSI at 59.22, which is above average. And on a 5-minute interval, we have more selling pressure than buying pressure with an RSI of 52.37. And with that, I really want to say that's the rest of the story. But Pantheon, am I taking that away from you? Is that your thing?
Not at all, because I think we should screw the hedgies.
That's so classic. I love you, man. No homo. I totally love
You and I, we've got a similar sense of humor, my friend. I'm serious. I like this.
it. I love it. So how you doing?
I'm good. No,
Oh,
Mrs. Pantheon, she wanted to have a chat, so I had to bail for a little bit. Sorry about that.
it's quite all right.
I forget to put the "be right back" thing when I disappear, so I should have known better. But you're styling in that lowrider, so I'm pretty happy to see the van.
Yeah, I like it, man. One of my viewers, Thick, was the one that found this. He goes by something else on Twitter, but he sent it to me. He's like, "Look what I found," and I don't know why, but for some reason, the minute that I saw that, I was just like, "I need to have that. That should be mine."
Did we kick out Matt Kors yet?
Yes, yes, his tattoo on his on the middle to lower side of his back is done. Uh, so he said, "Yeah, I'm out, guys."
I still find that funny when I forget who it was, but they put who they could envision in the van as we were driving. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Let's
Not,
see.
no disrespect to Matt Kors.
No,
We're
right,
just
right,
having fun.
right, absolutely. Pam says, Pantheon, I wanted your opinion on something, but we'll wait for tonight. Ooh, she's gonna wait.
Pam had, yeah, she had a pretty awesome New Year's celebration that she had videos on her channel of this weekend. Pretty cool stuff. And Javi was there with her. Javi the Great.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah, she's got him on her video. She was. Everyone should check it out. It's cool stuff.
That's awesome. Twitter board saw what happened with Netflix earnings. Now they're panic selling. Wait a minute. I thought they had no shares. What are they panic selling? The company? Hmm. I don't know why Twitter and Netflix would be intertwined. Pantheon, do you have any animals?
We don't at the moment. We would have probably 2 cats, except that our house is gutted and we're renovating. So not an environment for pets while you're renovating your property.
Mm, yeah. I'm looking to see if we have any AMC news and seeing also if Adam Aaron has tweeted anything new. Actually, first I'm going to go to Elon. I want to see what he's saying.
Elon's been on fire today.
He says, I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means.
Truth.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. I forgot he moved out here where I'm at, and he said, "And be my love in the rain." It's raining out here today. We have a thunderstorm kind of rolling through. Interesting. I had thought about going to work at his gigafactory that he built out here, and kind of changed my mind on that. I was just kind of like, why would I do that when I can, make millions of dollars on AMC?
There you go.
Yeah.
And make these 9-hour streams. Massalorian still he still gets bundled up, and I'm like, come on, man, 4 hours? He's like, what? You think we got to go 6? I'm like, Casey goes 9. Come on.
It was funny because when I heard you say that to him the first time, he kind of sat there and I could see the gears turning when you said 9 hours. He's like, 9 hours, huh? And I was just like,
Uh-huh.
I could see those gears turning, and he was just sitting there going like, how does he do it? I used to be a triathlete, um, and I'm not trying to like boost triathletes or anything like that, but when you endure extremely long periods of time of beating up on your body. Um, there comes a point in time, like especially if you do it on a regular basis, there comes a point in time to where you start to realize that your mind is really what limits you sometimes on your progression towards the goal of doing something. And when you put the mind and the thought processes to the side and you just keep going and you just keep doing, the body actually has remarkable output that can be achieved. And
Did you do half triathlons or full triathlons?
so there's sprints, there's Olympic distance, there's quarters, there's half Ironmans, and then there's the full Ironman.
Oh,
I
wow.
I did everything underneath the full Ironman, and the reason for that is that I'm extremely competitive, which you may have picked up at some point or another. But I hate I hate not being high up on the list of finishers, and uh, I was never willing to put in the amount of training that was required to get to that level. Um, to give you an example, to do a half Ironman, I was putting in 40-hour work weeks of working out. Like that,
Wow.
yeah, 40 like legit hours of either time on a bike or time on running or swim time. Um, it's a lot. It's a lot to put in.
Can I ask you, while you're prepping for a half triathlon, that's like what, 70 miles, right?
Which
What
port?
what
Which
for the isn't the total like about 70 miles for a half triathlon?
72, 72.6 or 70? Forget the number. What is it?
Okay.
76.2? Yeah.
So when you're putting in 40 hours of working out to prep for something like that, what's a typical day of meals? You must have a lot of calories coming in if you're
It's
putting that much work in, right?
it's 70.3 miles is the total distance, and it's 1.2 miles of swimming. It's 56 miles of biking and 13.1 miles of running. And my routine started out like every morning with usually an ice cream milkshake with a lot of peanut butter and fruits. It sounds gross, but I'd add vanilla extract to it, and it was really yummy. And it's so the milk is the kind of the protein that your body needs, and it's I'm sure it's really high calories. That was just kind of like a breakfast for me. You get going. All of my meals, I would say, were pretty. They were consistently like what I would say is like just a regular normal meal for just an average person. But you're snacking throughout the day constantly, right? So um, maybe I have like a whey protein drink 2 or 3 times in between meals, and maybe something with a salt. I'm trying to think of what it was. I think normally I had like the peanut butter salt pretzels, something that had like some sodium in it to kind of replenish some of the salt that you're losing. So, but yeah, it's just I didn't really change too much on my diet. I tried to eat really healthy. Um, it was just adding snacks more than anything. Was just adding snacks throughout the day. You're always constantly eating, and believe it or not, you're actually eating while you're. If you go out for a ride, if you're riding 50 miles on your bike or something for the day, you're going to be eating on the
Yeah.
ride itself. Like you have a bento box you have on your bike, and you're legitimately snacking as you're riding. And I think that's one of the things that like nobody ever really talks about for triathlons is what kind of nutrition should you have in a triathlon? And legit, like I mean, if you figure that you're doing a race for 6 hours, you need to eat. Like you have to legitimately eat while you're pushing yourself to the hardest extent that you possibly can. And think about going outside and just pushing yourself on a hard run and imagine trying to eat in the middle of that. And they have these little gel packets. You can eat the gel packets, and then of course you're trying to stay hydrated with like. Um, I only did Gatorade. I modified my Gatorade mix a little bit so that it would be more tolerable for what I wanted. But a lot of people kind of go with these like specialized drinks that they drink that are just kind of gross, and I didn't do those. But that had like creatine and um, a lot of other beneficial things in them. But I kind of stuck to kind of the basics and just let the gel packs be the nutrients that I needed.
That's interesting. You're gonna love it when you get to the part of the comment section where people are proposing foods for a half triathlon prep. I'm not gonna spoil it. You know the wrestler Triple H
I don't.
from WWE? No?
No.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley from WWE. He's a real big muscle bound dude, not a triathlon guy, but he's at a point where now he doesn't wrestle anymore. But the last like bunch of years, he'd wrestle once a year at WrestleMania. And I bring it up because my wife's asked me one time, all these big wrestlers and bodybuilders, I mean, how much food must they eat in a day? So I looked into it and I found Triple H, and he was prepping for WrestleMania, and they had this whole video thing about what he eats in a day. And literally, the dietitian for the WWE was literally coming to him every 2 hours saying, eat this, constantly bringing him almonds or bringing him yogurt or bringing him chicken or something. And his face was just like, he'd had enough. He just every time he's turned around, he's like, every time I turn around, you guys are throwing food in my face, and it was just like because he was, he's a big, massive, muscular guy, right?
Yeah.
Found that to be funny. And then I looked up one time what The Rock eats in a day to keep up The Rock's physique. It's just ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, when you get to the comments here about people's recommendations, I think that's cool. It's pretty good.
Casey had such an extended workout that he couldn't lift his feet over his dog.
J Beebs is pretty funny.
That's hilarious. I'm surprised. Beebs, as badly as I got hurt, he didn't even yelp. My dog is a beast. He's over 100 pounds. He's a black brown lab, like a mix, and he didn't yelp. I was partially laying over the top of him still after I'd tripped on him, and he just kind of went like, "Oh, thanks for interrupting my sleep," and then just kind of got up and walked away from me. He didn't even come over and check to see how I was. I was like, "What a dog."
Yeah, he's got it figured out.
Well, he probably thought I was mad at him, and I wasn't at all. I could barely move. I'm trying to remember. There's there's some other things that I used to do too, as far as eating goes. You start mixing like a lot of foods that you think that you would never mix together, just because you need, oh, bananas. So here's the thing. I didn't know this about myself, but apparently I have a very low potassium. I naturally run low on potassium in my body. Um, and so have you ever pulled like a calf muscle before when you're running?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or you wake up in the middle of the night and your calf muscle just seizes up on you. So
Hmm.
never had that happen?
Not that I can recall, but I'm sure it has.
It's the worst pain ever, and probably not as bad as childbirth, but it's pretty bad. And that only gets worse when you're, using everything that your body has to use. So you have to find more potassium to supplement. And so people were telling me like, oh, eat bananas. Well, I was tearing through like 8 bananas in a day, 8 bananas in a single day, and I was still getting calf muscle pulls in the middle of the night. And so I had to, I finally, I was just like, well, I can't do this. This is not working out for me. I'm not going to eat more than 8 bananas. And some people have recommended there's other things that are good in potassium too, like can't remember if it was like tomatoes or potatoes or it was something like that. But anyways, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a supplement. And so went online and I just found myself a potassium supplement and just started taking that instead. And it actually fixed everything for me. Um, it was, Brian says 6 oxycodone and a 6 pack. I had
I
this,
like Brian.
yeah, no kidding, right? Uh, I had this one interesting thing where I went to the doctor one time. I get upper respiratory infections pretty easily, and I had an upper respiratory infection, and so I went in there, and they normally prescribe me with albuterol, and like they'll give me like a Z pack and an albuterol, and it takes care of it like every time. And so I went in, and he gave me the albuterol, and when I got home, I saw that it said that it was a steroid, and I started freaking out. I was like, "Oh crap, I can't take steroids," and so I scheduled an appointment to go back in because apparently they wouldn't do over the phone consultations. So I scheduled an appointment to go back in, and I went back in to see him. I'm like, so you prescribed me this albuterol, and it's got a steroid, and I said I do triathlons, and I can't do steroids, for the triathlon. Or I didn't say I can't do. I said, is this illegal? Is this something that would be illegal for doing triathlons? And he goes, no, but were you looking for a steroid? I was like,
Wow.
I know, I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you like in my head, it was one of those moments where you just kind of stare at somebody blankly and you try to figure out like, you try to get a read on what it is as fast as you possibly can that they're trying to say to you.
Yeah.
I got like no read on him whatsoever. And I was just like, no, 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 you don't understand. I don't want to be taking this if I if I can't have this. And he's like, "Oh no, no, yeah, you can take that. It's not on the ban list or anything." And I just couldn't believe it though. Like, I mean, he legit. I felt like he was going to offer me something if I wanted it, and it was kind of one of those eye-opening moments for me where I felt like you hear about people who juice, um, but you never actually see it until you do. And when you see it, it's just kind of one of those things where you go like, I can't believe it's this prevalent, or this easy for people to get a hold of. It
Yeah,
was
I would have asked the guy if he used to be a Major League Baseball team doctor, maybe recommending the clear.
okay.
Uh
So
oh, what'd I do?
no joke. Like he legitimately was only a mile away from one of the spring practice baseball fields that they have. It's in Peoria, Arizona. You can look it up. I think it's the Padres and I think maybe the Mariners. I think it's the Mariners and the Padres, or I forget who it is, but that's where they do their spring training. But he was only
Okay.
a mile away, his office from that location. So it makes you wonder. Yep, I'm going through a
This
couple here.
conversation's gone over well in the chat. I like that.
AMC and uh, I could probably change up the title one day to like AMC and something. I forget what the let's see. performance enhancing drug, PED.
And PEDs. Oh no. We're gonna rub some clear on AMC. Let's get this thing moving.
Or I could do AMC and THC. I wonder if anybody would notice. Oh, Pantheon, since you're here,
Yes, sir.
I've been trying to get people to talk about this issue because I think it's a really huge, important issue, and I think you know because I care so much about our community, I want people to kind of disseminate this information, and I would love for it if you would cover this. You don't have to, but I'm going to throw it up on the screen real quickly because it does have to do with what the title of the show is for the day today, and this has to do with TSP, and so I was talking on Froggy and Mediocre on Saturday in a stream, and this gentleman came on and he said, I appreciate everything you guys have been doing for us. My girlfriend and I just hooked up recently. She's got a 401k, but we can't figure out how to make transfers within her plan. It seems like they've got it frozen. Can you help me to figure out what's going on with it? And I said, well, who's your broker? And she comes onto the line and says, "Well, I work for the government." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, hold up right there! You don't have to tell me what you work for." And but when she said that, my son works in the Air Force, and he told me about TSP, which is the Thrift Savings Plan. As soon as I said that to her, she's like, "Yes, it's TSP. That's who it is." Well, what I want you to look at, and this article was written in the 31st of March of 2022, so not too long ago, about a month ago. And you can see
You and I
this.
talked about this on the weekend, right?
Did we? Okay, I couldn't remember who I've
Yeah.
talked to, but I just wanted to talk to.
The dates.
Yeah, those dates are insane. Like I don't understand. Like
Uh-huh.
like why would any broker tell somebody that they couldn't make trades for like a week?
And curiously enough, it's really the lockdown comes what is the last week of May and the first week of June, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which you know, I shouldn't go down this road, but everybody take a look at the options chain that got released for the first week of June and last week of May. And that's all I'm gonna say right now.
it scares me because I worry about even if my son wasn't in the military, it would scare me because he only has like a year and a half's worth of time in right now. So he's only got, he doesn't have very much in his account, so he's not going to be affected by this. But when I saw this, I was like, I got sick to my stomach. I was like, you know what? This is a bunch of BS right here. Like
Yep.
I feel like if you go back to 2008, I remember a lot of people's pensions, and I remember a lot of people's money that was invested through the military's 401ks, which was TSP, got really hammered big time. And I want all I want you guys to do is go out and talk about the facts. I don't want you to talk about any kind of like anything other than the fact that there's going to be a period of time where they will not be able to make any transactions, transfers, or anything like that. As you can see here, May 16th, last day to submit or access all forms online or hard copy. This includes withdrawals, rollover or transfer requests, as well as beneficiary changes. Then the May 26th is the last day to make transfers between different mixes of investments or change contributions, and it's the last day to contact TSP via telephone, and that's supposed to last from May 26th until the first week of June, and they don't say when in the first week of June, they just say the first week of June.
Yep. And I was talking to some college friends of mine. I went to college in the US, and I was talking to my buddies about this last night. And luckily, none of them are in this plan, but they have friends that are and family. So they're going to talk to them because it's that first paragraph after the last bullet, right? From May 26th at noon Eastern through the first week of June. Account access will be unavailable. And I think you're right. That's something that we should be stressing to a lot of people to be aware of
And,
is,
and it says,
sorry, go ahead.
however, all invested funds will continue to reflect market changes during that period of time.
100%. 100%. So if the market's great, it's going to go up for you. If the market's bad, it's going to go down for you. And whichever way that goes, you will have no ability to move anything. And that's the point.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm with you.
And I think that's just terrible. Like I don't understand. I don't understand. I've never heard of anything like that before, and maybe it happens more frequent than I know of, and it just concerns me now because I feel passionate about not seeing retail get screwed over. But um, you know, our military and our government looks out for us, and I think the very least we can do is go around and make sure. My son, I called him up this weekend, and he had no clue. I think it might have been after we talked. I asked him about it, and he had no idea.
Right.
None.
I'll definitely show it tonight. I'm going to be on tonight, so I'll definitely pull that up and mention this. 100%.
Yeah,
Thank you, Casey. I didn't know about that till you pointed that out to me. And, that has the potential to be, well, it is meaningful information. So I think people are, yeah, I'll help spread the word.
I appreciate it, man.
You got it.
I really do, because the time's ticking. They only have like 3 weeks left, potentially four, maybe 5 weeks left to make some changes,
Right.
and that's quick. Somebody's asking, is Twitter halted? Sometimes if they're going through a sale, if a offer has been made, they will freeze oftentimes the stock price. Let's check it out. It is suspended. This does happen on occasions where companies are going to be purchased. If there's news, I believe they file, I don't know what it's called. They file something with the SEC. I forget the name of it, but they let them know that there's going to be a change within the company, and I think if that change is going to be a big enough change, they have the ability to be able to suspend trading on the stock during that period of time. Those changes. And based on the fact that I don't see any kind of abnormal movement on the stock price as of when it was suspended, that would probably be the case, but I don't know for a fact yet. I'll have to look it up. Let's check it out.
Mika Allen has noted in the comments, a report by CNBC says a buyout price is $57.62. Can we check some news on that?
Absolutely. What did you say the price was?
It says here $57.62 by Mika Allen in your comments.
Okay.
And hello, Kathy. Kathy N. How you doing? Yes, this is Pantheon.
By the way, my heart is absolutely racing right now. So if I sound like I'm out of breath, it's probably the medication just kicking in. So I'm seeing by Bloomberg, Musk nears 43 million deal for Twitter as soon as Monday. Tesla's billionaire founder lining up partners for acquisition. Musk discussing potential takeover offer of 54.20 per share. Monday. That is
Wow.
the second.
I saw a report somewhere that people were asking Elon on Twitter if, I think it was on Twitter, if he was going to reinstate former President Trump to Twitter. And I think their response was that Trump didn't want to go back to Twitter. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that if he could, he would.
Well,
He was all over that.
but I mean, he started DWAC though, and that was supposed to be like his new baby after they kicked him off of Twitter.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So I feel like that'd be like actually I can't think of a good example. I was gonna say
That'd be
like
like Pantheon going on your show all the time.
I think you're welcome wherever you go. So
Well, we'll see if that holds up. But I do like it here.
you know what? I'm sure it'll hold up. You're a good guy.
Ah, thanks. Now that Diaz guy, I've got my eye on him.
I'm sorry. I don't know Diaz. You know Diaz? I mean, I know Diaz,
Yeah.
but I haven't had a chance to talk to Diaz like outside of just this chat box here. So,
Oh,
um,
him and I have personal actual conversations together offline. Yeah. He's good people. That's why I tease him because he knows I'm just kidding around.
okay.
Diaz is awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, he's legit.
ABC
But don't
says,
tell him I said that.
"Oh no, I
Don't
won't."
tell him I said that. We're offline, right?
uh, ABC says Twitter's like crack for Trump. He won't be able to resist. There is something to that. That's for sure. Sean says, "Do you think he will have a mini short squeeze in Twitter?" I mean, just because
He
he
is taking
owns,
it private.
yeah. Well, if he
Isn't he
takes,
taking it? Yeah. Sorry, Casey. Go ahead.
no, if he's taking it private, then no.
What do you mean, no? If he's taking it private, then they have to close up the positions, right?
Right, right, right. Okay, I see what you're saying. But, but I don't know that that's necessarily. Let me think about that for a second. How would that work?
It's a good question, because if he's got a set price and there's, I don't know, let's just make a number up. I don't know, like, oh, it doesn't matter if there's a bunch of shorts on it, which we know there are. I mean, Bill Gates has a $500 million short position on Twitter, according to or no, that's on sorry, no,
That's on Tesla.
that's on his comp that's on Tesla. That's right. Sorry, I got my gears crossed here, my
No,
wires crossed. But let's assume there's a big short position on Twitter, which there should be. It's done nothing since 2013. Um, you know, when they purchase that and take it private, they can't just not close the short positions. They're going to have to close them up. Only if the stock goes to zero are they able to, take their ill-gotten gains without taxes. Unless I'm missing something here.
no, no, no. I'm thinking about how this would go down. So they would have to settle. They would have to settle. You know what that's going to do? That's going to put a lot of pressure on brokers. If there is, legitimately, it does show that there's about 6.55% short interest. Now, the thing that I talk about a lot of times is synthetics that are in existence, right? Like, I mean, we know synthetics are out there. One of the ways that I kind of a litmus test that I use to try and figure out like whether or not a company has a lot of excess synthetic shares that are being traded within the company is that I take the average 3 month volume and I divide that by the total amount of float that they have. And basically, what that does is that's saying like, okay, what you can do is you can pair apples and oranges, but try to make some sense out of it. So if you look at other stocks out there that aren't heavily shorted, that are similar, you can try and make some sense out of their average volume versus their average 3 month volume versus their float. Now, in this particular instance here, it's saying that only 6.55% short interest is open, but let's check here and see what that math problem comes out to for Twitter. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I'm going to leave the math to you.
I just gotta. There we go. I just had some like lightning and major thunder over here. Okay, so we're on. We gotta go over to Twitter. Their
While you're doing
average.
the math, I'll just say hi to I'll
Go
say
ahead.
hi to Lowboy 1966, and my plan is to give him a little more time before I do that. Sorry, back to you, Casey.
No, that I love. Lowboy came on the very first day that I did Discord and let people come on and just have like the last hour to the show. Uh, he came on and he pumped everybody up, dude. That guy, he's such a hype man. Like he is amazing, amazing individual.
He thinks I should ask you for my money, but now that you're under meds, it's the right time. And I'm telling him I'm just going to give you a little bit more time to let it settle in.
Okay, so I just ran the math, guys. Their average 3 month volume is 44.17 million shares, and their free float is 666.65 million. If that ain't the devil's number, I don't know what is. But what that comes out to when you divide those two numbers is and multiply it by 100 is 6.6%. And yeah, 6.62% of their total daily volume travels through the market. And so what I would venture to say is that a normal amount is anything less than 4%, right? That's normal. It's normal to see some shorting. Um, and so anything under 4 is good. Anything higher than 6 is pretty high. Anything between 4 and 6 is kind of like a mediocre, kind of like it's like a little bit. It's not too much. It's not too little, but it's just kind of questionable. But anything over 6% is really, really, really stinking high. And it's kind of one of those things where if you have this much of their daily volume moving through the market, and then you scroll out and you look at this on like a daily basis, and I'm gonna get rid of the Bollinger Bands, and the price is not like absolutely just tanking through the floor, then and it's being supported at least to some extent, then there's a lot of synthetic shares that are being traded here. A lot. Now there's worse.
That's interesting.
I've seen worse, but this is definitely elevated. Now the reason for that is that if here's the interesting thing about this. When you in terms of AMC, when you look at AMC, how much do you think of our average volume is 54.45 million shares? How much of that average volume on a daily basis do you think is actual retail purchases? There's no wrong answers.
Like less than, right? Okay, less than 10%.
Yeah, it's like 10% or less. Yeah. And so you have to ask yourself, like, are institutions legitimately trading back and forth that much volume, and why? Why would they be doing that? Why would they be transferring shares back and forth, all over the place? What's the purpose? What are they trying to hide, or what are they trying
To
to do?
maintain, right, maintaining the price to where they want it, right? They can use that as a basic technique of shorting to basically not really shorting, but it can help control the price movement.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And you have to have this share. You have to have some kind of shares to be able to do that with. And you can trade those synthetics. You can trade those synthetics back and forth. And it's just kind of one of those things where you look at that and you go like, holy crap, that's a lot of volume. When you look at it, it's just like that's
Yep.
just it's too much volume. It's too much. Like as an example, and I like using Amazon as kind of the gold standard. Um, but it's again, it's like comparing apples and oranges because obviously Amazon's not AMC and the price is super, super high. But what do we know about Amazon? Well, let me show you. Amazon is not, well, at least it didn't used to be, heavily shorted. Let's see how it is now. Point 0.81%. It's not very heavily shorted. So if you want to know what a company should look like on their average daily volume going back and forth, it's not a bad stock to look at. I know the argument the argument that I always get when I talk about it like this to people is they always say, yeah, but that's only because there's the price of the stock is $2,904 per share. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The price has nothing to do with it at all. But if you come in here and you take a look at their average 3 month volume and you divide that out, um, it reflects exactly what we just saw in their short interest, which is at 0.81. And so if I take 3.77, their average daily volume, divide that by their free float of 458.21 million, you get 0.8% multiplied by 100, right? Don't forget that. 0.82% of their total daily volume is traded. That is what a company that's not heavily shorted with synthetics trades like. And you can find plenty of other examples that are just like that. To be companies that aren't heavily shorted and have a lot of synthetic shares that are being traded back and forth.
Right. I like this. This is smart.
So
The teacher is in session. I like this.
it's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me, and so when you draw those parallels, right? When you draw the parallels and you say, this is what this is supposed to trade like. If 8% is truly and honestly a very low number on how much your daily volume should be trading through, could you take something like Cinemark, right, which is comparing apples to apples, and
Right.
compare the
Right.
amount of daily average volume compared to AMC and come up with a similar type comparing apples to apples and see how many extra synthetic shares are actually trading back and forth? Well, kind of. except for the fact that their free float only has 107 million shares in it. So you have to take that into consideration. It's a lower free float, but price is relatively the same. And they don't trade nearly as many shares in a single day. 2.74. So if your free float, if you were to multiply this by 4 times to get it closer to, or is it 5 times? 5 times. If you multiply that by 5 times to get a free float that was more similar to what AMC has, and then you multiplied out the average daily volume for the last 3 months times 5, that only puts you just over 10 million shares, which is drastically different than what you see traded on a daily basis on AMC. Do you see where the app comparing apples to apples comes into play?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like night and day difference. It's beautiful. It's numbers. I love it. I love data. 201. It's time to take a look at our numbers one more time. I'll let Pantheon talk about whatever he wants to talk about while I prepare some things real quick. Putting him on the spot.
Oh, what are we going to talk about? Let's see. Anybody in the comments? Brian Carpenter's giving me a hard time. Brian, I like you. He says I remind him of Andy Kaufman from Taxi. I can laugh at that. I like Andy Kaufman. Let's see. What else have we got going on in here? Lots of talk about Twitter, as you would expect. RemTac 870. I've got calls and puts on Twitter and shares, dang it. Well, you're definitely hedged. Let's see.
You know, there's something I don't know what happens to people who have open contracts and options. I don't know what happens to that. Do you?
No, that's a good question. I mean, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. I should look into that because that's probably going to come up.
Would they make you settle?
Well,
I don't know the answer.
well, if you're in the money, you can still exercise too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really talk much outside of AMC on my show, but I can look into this one for sure. Twitter options with private sale. Indeed, indeed. It's an excellent question.
Yeah, it is. I've actually never been a part of a company that's been on a buyout. That would be a first for me. If I was in Twitter.
Doc Zeno's. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, me neither. Doc Zeno's trying to trying to get me to talk about NSCC 2022 003 and 801. You're a persistent one, Doc Zeno. I'm going to talk about that tonight on Pantheon Radio.
Oh, man, you're making me stay up.
I have. No. Okay, well, we'll talk about it now.
No. I want you to talk about it tonight,
No.
but I'm gonna have to. No, I'm gonna have to stay up late. I'm just telling you, I'm gonna stay up late to watch your show. Don't talk about it now. I'm staying up late.
Well, there's not a whole like I'm going to need to show some of the documents when I go through it tonight. But I mean, my stance hasn't changed from when I first talked about it on your show, Casey. It hasn't changed, and I was going to talk. I say we'll talk about it tonight because I know that Bigums will probably be listening. The thing for me is we got to remember there's some people in the AMC YouTube community whose focus is on the system. And then there's others that are focused entirely on the mother of all short squeezes. And you got to remember that when you're looking at different people's perspectives of these rules, right? And I've got nothing but love and appreciation for AMC Bigums. And I think we should support Bigums in putting the responses on the SEC website because, guys, and Casey, I sent this over to you. They have not put in the 60 or whatever day typical process for review. Guys, they have put a less than 30-day review period. for both of these proposed rules, which you don't see them do very often. Coincidentally, has them finishing comment period. Was it May 4th and May 10th? I think of the 2 dates. So that's interesting. They've given less than 30 days period for comments, which means they're looking to fast track this. Now, what's my perspective on it? Going back to Biggums, Biggums is the guy who said if we don't destroy the ISDA banks, we're not going to have a mother of all short squeezes. I disagree with that, and I have loved Biggums. I'm not negative on him in any way, shape, or form, but his focus is on the overall market, like the overall system. But we're still going to have the mother of all short squeezes with ISDA banks not being stopped, because to do that is going to be more than what the people in AMC can handle. Really, this needs to be a much larger effort, and that'll take a lot of time. These rules, and I have is almost 800 pages, and I have taken the time to read all of it, and I've listened to people's videos, and I've gone back and refreshed myself in those sections. And I got to tell you that I my personal belief has not changed. I don't see I don't see anything in there that makes me say we are not going to have the mother of all short squeezes. That's still my contention, and I've talked about this with Boss. So, you know, it's not the greatest rule in the world, and it makes you start asking questions why they need to have the overnights. And I have theories on that, which I probably won't share them on the show. Casey knows, you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
I've shared my theories with you. But nevertheless, the point being, I see these rules, and guys, we are going to have the short squeeze, the mother of all short squeezes, with or without that rule. And the fact that they are pushing it to be an earlier date, because Casey, when you asked me before, what's the review period? We both were thinking, was it 60 days or something like that? And then I went and actually looked it up because I'd forgotten. Yeah, it was less than 30 days for these guys. So, that's telling you something. They feel like they need to get this implemented, the comment period for both to be wrapped up no later than May 10th, and start looking at the options chain, start looking at everything else that's going on. I've got a little timeline in my brain on this. And all I'm saying is, guys, this rule is not going to kill the squeeze. There's lots of people that are talking like that, and there's people that are talking the opposite way. Lion Trader and Tony Denaro are two people who've come out and said it's neutral. Like, it's not really going to kill the squeeze, guys. We don't need to worry about that. We should have further conversation. And I think what would be helpful would be to able to get, Bigums and Boss and Casey, you, me, Tony, and some others in one place and do a live stream and just have a roundtable discussion about it. I think that would be the best way to approach it, to get everybody on the same page, or not to get on the same page, but just to get all of our different thoughts out,
Hmm.
right, in a respectful format, which all these people would definitely supply. I'd like to do that. But I'm not going to pull the documents up obviously right now. But I've got some sections I want to show you guys. They, it refers to the CNS program, but it refers to shares that are already available within the CNS program. So, like, this isn't opening the CNS up to a whole pile of new people that never had access to it. Anyhow, I'll get into the details on it. And there's not really that much more to say, to be quite honest. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not really anything that I'm too extremely worried about either. But that's just because I think that I don't know. I quite frankly think that there's no way that they having all of the GameStop guys vote on a 3-to-1 share issuance is just a disaster. It's a disaster waiting to happen. I just don't understand like how they could possibly um, let that happen without knowing that there's going to be some kind of major market disruption. What they would almost consider as one of those disruptive events. And I think something will probably happen before then. But that sounds like me putting dates on stuff, and I'm not trying to do that. But I just don't think that that's. I just don't see them letting that happen. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna.
And let's just we're just sorry. Did you want to jump onto something else?
Yeah, I
I
was
I
gonna
could talk a little bit more on this if you.
go ahead. Go for it.
That's okay. No, it's your show. It's time to roll into the stats. Let's do that.
All right. Well, after I get done with the stats, say what you want to say though. All right, taking a look at the numbers, guys. On the off exchange, an hour ago it was 45.83, and the CBOE EDGX was at 15.76. We're currently at 45.72 and 15.53, so it doesn't seem like a whole lot of price discoveries being pushed into the off exchange at this time. Moving over to Ortex, I just updated, but let me do it again just in case. Who knows? Well, that's up higher. An hour ago, there was 933,000 shares having been borrowed today, or right now, it's currently at 1.25 million. Now, what I'm going to say about this is this. Whenever shares on loan increases, that has that driving down effect on average loan or on average loan age per day to decrease. And that is that one single indicator that is probably the most repeatable indicator about price run-ups. So anytime you see massive amounts of borrowing going on, that typically is what that results in. So, but normally, like 1.25 is not a whole lot. Like I would consider it to be like 3 million or higher. But right now it's showing 1.25, which is higher than what we've been seeing in the more recent history. That's going to raise the estimated current short share interest of the free float to 19.23%, and the cost to borrow is still the same as it was an hour ago. Moving over to the options chain. At a $16.50 strike price, an hour ago there was 11.4 thousand contracts. There's now 11.7, so a slight increase. On the puts at a $16 strike price, there was 10.4 thousand contracts. An hour ago there's now 10.8, also a slight increase. Almost as if the options have slowed down, which is very unusual for a Monday. They have definitely tapered off today, and those are actually really low numbers considering we have less than an hour left to go in the day. Moving on. Sorry, 1 second while I drag these screens over here. Orders by Fidelity customers. AMC GME not on the top 10 list, obviously due to low volume. AMC is in 23rd with a 61% buy to 39% sell ratio. Not bad. It's really close to as low as I like to see it, and I don't see GME on the list. Low volume. Trigger price for SSR would have been $14.87, which we have not hit yet for the day today. New shares having been borrowed in the last hour, none. 4.9 thousand contracts are in the money on the calls versus 96.5 that are out of the money. 15.4 thousand contracts are in the money on the puts versus 30.4 thousand contracts that are out of the money. Now, I have not verified these future dates of 5/6, 5/13, and 5/20, but those were low originally. They have started stacking. I'm specifically looking at the out of the money calls. I don't remember 5/20. I'll have to go back in my notes and look and see, but I don't remember 5/20 being a date that was that high in volume for open interest. So I'm gonna have to go back and check that out, but that seems pretty high.
Look at that last week of May and first week of June. Sorry to interrupt.
No, yeah. Yep. I'll pull it back up. Right here. Dead. Absolutely dead. NASDAQ is up 0.2. Dow Jones is down 0.03. The S&P 500 is down 0.31. The market is declining over advancing with 4,387 decliners to 3,288 advancers. The VIX is up 1.74. It's come down quite a bit from where it was earlier in the day today, potentially meaning that the market futures are looking more positive. IWM is down 0.02. Tesla is down 1.86. This may be that injection of money that's coming out of nowhere that we're going to see that starts driving everything green at the end of the day. Tesla is down 1.9. Amazon is up 0.18. Cinemarket is down 0.51. Doge is up 27% and climbing. I'm just going to show this just because I think this is important to show. My dog's yelping in the back. That's weird noise he's making. 0.23 is kind of one of those numbers where I kind of felt like we could see a potential massive run if we see that line broken. It's definitely spiking up right now, that's for sure. Bitcoin is up 1.12, GME is down 2.72, HYMC is down 5.67, Hood is down, up 0.05, and AMC is up 0.96. Currently, we have $1 million more in outflow than inflow, and 22.8 million shares having been traded so far in the day, with roughly 30. Man, I can't say words. With roughly 44 minutes left in the day today, 3:46. We're on pace for about 25.6 million shares by the end of the day today. That's going to be right between that 20 and 40 million that I suggested in pre-market. Currently, we have more outflow than these drugs are hitting hard. these drugs are hitting really, really hard right now. We have more buying pressure than selling pressure on the weekly interval with an RSI of 40.76. That is a low number for the RSI, below average. On the daily, more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 41.83, below average. On the hourly, we have more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 50.59, which is right down the middle. On a 30-minute interval, more selling pressure than buying pressure with an RSI of 53.63, which is average. On a 5-minute interval, we have a crossover within the last 10 minutes with more buying pressure than selling pressure and RSI at 43.87, which is below average. And with that, Pantheon, speak away. And I'm going to go grab a drink here in just a minute, and we'll do a toast to the end of the day.
A toast sounds lovely.
Because, nothing like Percocet and alcohol.
A dangerous combination.
AMC.
Upon further reflection, what I was going to say is something I didn't need to say. So this was well played, Casey.
Okay. Sounds good. Let me step away for just about a minute or two and mix myself up a drink here real quick, and we'll come back in. I'll think of something to toast to, and if Pantheon, if you want to just say something, or if you just want to be quiet, I can put music on too. It's up to you.
Let's put some music on. That sounds nice. I'm interested for your selection of the day.
Oh, it's the same.
May I make a request?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you have the same. Okay.
No. Make a request.
Have you played lately How Soon Is Now by the Smiths?
I have not.
I love that song.
Let's try it. Oh, good choice. I'll be right back.
I'm the sun and the air of a shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am sun and air of nothing in particular. Shut your mouth, how can you say I go about things the wrong way? I am human and I need to belong, just like everybody else shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am the son and heir of nothing in particular. You should you know, how can you say I go about things the wrong way? I am human and I need to be loved, just like everybody else does. There's a club if you'd like to go. You could meet somebody who really loves you. So you go and you stand on your own, and you leave on your own, and you go home and you cry and you want to die.
You know, I never realized how much that sounds like um, maybe a little bit like Depeche Mode.
Yeah. No, there's that definitely.
And so I just want to toast to my toast is to good people and good music. Um, my wife and I love going to concerts together, and there's something magical about music, and it does unite people. So to good music and good people, cheers.
Cheers, Casey.
Thick says that they're about to do a rug pull on the piss out of crypto. Yeah, we've never seen that happen before, have we, Thick? Hmm. I see your wolf is the Wolfpack VIP server down. I can't log in. Hmm. Brian said every day is like Sunday. I'm not sure what that means. Sean says drinking and driving again. No ossifer. This is not a drink. These are vapors. I'm just smelling it.
I knew a guy back in high school who hooked up the window washer, cleaned it all off, put alcohol in it, and then ran the hose so it went into the cab. So as he was driving, he could hit the window washer fluid because he had no window washer that way, and he could drink it that way. So when the cops pulled him over, he just put it back into the dash, and they wouldn't know, but they'd know. And it was vodka, so there was no smell. Anyways, don't know why I told that story. He wasn't somebody to ride with, I'll say that much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, when we're younger, we make a lot of dumb mistakes, but and that's, hopefully we don't make mistakes that harm people, but we make mistakes. And that's what younger years in life is kind of all about, is learning what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. Oh, Brian says every day is like a Sunday is a Morrissey song. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm actually really bad with names for songs. So when as an example, Pantheon, when you just told me that song to play that one, um,
Yep.
I totally know that song. Heard it a million times. I had no idea what it was though when you said the name.
The last Pantheon Radio I did, we just had some fun. We did top 10 songs from the 80s and 90s, and I started off with my own personal top 10 list, and that was on it. And most people that I had brought that up to had the same reaction. I don't know what song that is. And the moment you play it, they go, "Oh, no, I know that song."
Hmm.
It's one of those riffs that just stays with you, right?
Yeah.
And
What?
and somebody brought up in here they thought that was the theme song to the TV show Charmed. I had no idea. I've never seen Charmed. Um, I didn't know that. So that's information I didn't have.
How old is that song? How soon is now?
It was in the 80s. It made my list of my favorite 1980s songs.
Let's see. I'm looking it up. 1984.
Yep. And it still works today. It still plays well.
Who do you think, music wise, from? Actually, let me change what I'm going to say, because we're relatively the same age. Who in your mind is a group that has stood the test of time the best from the 80s?
That's still rocking today, or just the music itself has stood the test of time.
Just the music itself.
Wow, good question. From the 80s. Um, the classics never fade. Michael Jackson.
Mm, yep.
I don't know if the younger crowd would agree with me on that, but you can play Man in the Mirror and I'm happy. Like I just, Michael Jackson had it all down and the classics never fade. Now, Nirvana had an album out in 89. I think that's when Nevermind first came out. Am I right or am I wrong on that?
I think you're right.
Because that's the, let's see, 1991. Nope.
Mm.
Okay, then who else would there be? Guns N' Roses was out in the 80s. I would be very, very partial to Guns N' Roses. I think that stuff still absolutely rocks today.
ABC took my
But
vote.
ABC took your vote. You too?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they've stayed with the times. They got into the 90s. They went a bit more techno beat. They've sort of adapted as the kind of times have gone on. Yeah, they've done well. If you're looking at my iPod, it's got the same music I was listening to when I first met my wife. So I have not adapted,
How many years have you been married?
unfortunately. We got married in 2006.
2006.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad. Going on, you're getting there. You're almost up to 20.
Yeah, we started dating in 1998, so we've been together exclusively a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, it works.
Sean,
She's a better person than I am.
oh, they always are, right? They're always the better half.
Always marry up, folks. Always marry up. And I'm not talking about money.
Unless, of course, it works that way too.
Sure. Hey,
Stevie said Bon Jovi. I didn't really become a fan of Bon Jovi. Well, it might have been the 80s. Hmm. I'm a Bon
I will
Jovi fan.
I will freely admit my appreciation for Bon Jovi came after they had been big. I will freely admit that I did not appreciate them at the time when they first came out. We had so many of those rocker hair bands back then, but you put on "Living on a Prayer" now, and you just about can't beat that song.
Mm.
So I've gained an appreciation for Bon Jovi that I did not have when they first came out, which kind of saddens me.
Prometheus says Twitter has been purchased. Twitter will address public shareholders at 2 p.m.
Nice.
That'll be interesting to see what happens. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. This is your wait, hold on a second. This is your captain speaking. Screw the hedges.
He stole my line.
Oh man. Man, I love Phil Collins. I do love me some Phil Collins. That's a good one. All right, Ken, I don't want you. Go ahead.
No, I just slipped on the mic. Sorry.
Oh, Ken said the Beastie Boys, and I'm going to tell you what, Ken. When I was growing up, one of my best friends, I lived in Washington D.C. at the time when the Beastie Boys were really, really big, and like figure like '86 kind of era, maybe even like a little bit before that, but they were popping, right? Especially over there on the East Coast in D.C. And I had a buddy of mine, my best friend growing up, and he was a huge Beastie Boys fan, and I hated him. I absolutely hated him. I was like, how do you listen to this stuff? It's terrible. And for some reason, I don't know why, but it's happened for me for just a few groups where I hated him in the beginning when everybody else loved him, and then later on I warmed up to him. One of them was the Beastie Boys, and the other one was Green Day. I hated Green Day with a passion when they first came out. I just didn't like them. Now I can't get enough. Just can't get enough.
I'm not gonna lie. When Basket Case came out, yeah, I wasn't a fan, and I did gain an appreciation for Green Day after the fact, similar to yourself. Um, what's that song? I Walk Alone. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one. I could listen to that song on repeat all day long and never get tired of it.
Hmm.
And then I saw some interesting interviews about When September Ends.
Hmm.
It's actually a song that. Did you know what's behind that song?
Mm-mm.
I always appreciate these songs more when I understand why they wrote the music they did. And so when he was a young child, the lead singer, while he was a child, Billy Joe Armstrong, his father died at the start of September. And everybody was there trying to console them, and his mother came up to him, and he just looked up at her and said, "Just wake me up when September ends." And he always remembered that he said that as a child and turned that into a song when he got older.
Hmm.
So you start to hear things like that. You're like, wow, like and then you listen to the song and you're like, I get it now. Now I get it. And I always find more appreciation when I read the lyrics of the song. I'm one of those guys that would get the CD and pull the thing up and read the lyrics, listening to it, trying to figure out what are they up to. Alanis Morissette, I was always trying to figure out what is she saying. And yeah,
Do you
because she's
think?
deep. She's deep.
Oh yeah. You know who else I appreciated like zero was Sinead O'Connor. Like I had zero appreciation for her. Like I could not stand hearing her songs come on the radio. And it wasn't until I heard one of Chris Cornell did one of her he did a cover of hers. And when I heard him sing the lyrics, I heard the song from a different perspective, and it completely changed how I viewed Sinead O'Connor from the past. And it made me want to go back and listen to every single one of her songs, and just she was incredibly deep. Like I don't know if it was her, I think it was her lyrics that she wrote them and everything, but um, I feel so bad that I never appreciated her music for what it was worth back in the day. I really do.
Yeah, nothing compares to Use the Obvious pick, and it's just a beautiful song.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah. I struggled. I almost put that on my top 10 for the decade. I almost had it on there. It made the top 20.
Wow. Yeah. Atlantis, I like Atlantis, but I don't know. I always felt like she was complaining in her songs, and it kind of was a turn off for me. But I love her music though. She's kind of a weird one for me because I don't not like the music. I legitimately like it. It's really good. I just always felt like she was just
Did
complaining
you
all the
hear?
time.
Did you hear the earlier stuff she did? Like
But
when Jagged Little Pill came out, that wasn't her first album.
yeah, I only heard after that.
Okay, so do you remember? Did you ever watch the TV show How I Met Your Mother?
Hmm.
Okay, so Robin, the character, when she was younger, she was a Canadian pop singer named Robin Sparkles.
Hmm.
Okay, that is Alanis Morissette. That's what they base that off of. She was just called Alanis back then, and she was a teenage Canadian pop star. Robin Sparkles was the inspiration on the show from Alanis. Like they base it off Alanis. That's what she was at first, and then she disappeared off the scene, and then showed up as Alanis Morissette with Jagged Little Pill, and you're like, what is this? This is great. It's nothing like the never too hot, never too cold, like the whole Backstreet Boys kind of thing. Yeah, I'm singing on your show. It was like a Backstreet Boys NSYNC kind of like pop vibe, like a Britney Spears pop vibe, right? Before Britney Spears.
Yeah.
And of course not nearly as successful, obviously.
Huh.
And then she came up with Serious Jagged Little Pill, and you're like, okay, well, this is not what I expected, and I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a little interesting fact for you.
Um,
So it says here you're a fan of Sheryl Crow.
I am. I'm a massive fan. Well, I shouldn't say massive. I'm not massive. I think she's hot. I said it.
Yeah, she's
So
beautiful.
I think she's absolutely gorgeous, and she's got a pair of lungs on her that are amazing. And I remember back in the day, they had a TV series called oh shoot, I can't think of what it was, but they put Sheryl Crow and what's the lady's name that had the mole on her face, and I can't think of it. The supermodel.
Oh, Cindy Crawford.
So, yeah, they put Cindy Crawford and Sheryl Crow on like House of Style on MTV,
Oh,
and
yeah?
I was never a huge fan of Cindy Crawford. I just didn't think she was that pretty. And then when they put Sheryl Crow and next to Cindy Crawford, I was like, yep, I knew it. There's Sheryl Crow just knocked my socks off, and Cindy Crawford looked like she wasn't nearly as pretty. So I'm just a fan. But she's got a great voice too, and she puts out some good songs, so I do like her. No lie.
She was with Lance Armstrong, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And then they separated at some point or another. I don't know what exactly happened, but they're not together anymore. Kid Rock? Oh, come on. Kid Rock? I'm not a big fan of Kid Rock. Like in life, I think I just didn't like those kind of guys in high school. They were just kind of like the guys that I just kind of thought were kind of like trash bags to people in life in general. And I just didn't really care for people like that didn't respect other people. And um, I don't know. I never liked Kid Rock too much. I hope that's not a true story.
Says they both denied dating, but coyly denied dating. So, because they did that song together, Picture, right?
Mm, you got me.
Yeah. I'd sing it, but I think I've already embarrassed myself enough today. Yeah, they did a song together called Picture. It's a good song. It's a slower
Oh,
acoustics tune,
no, 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 you're right. I remember
right?
it now. You're right. Oh, no. No.
Doesn't mean anything went physical, right?
Ah,
Living
yeah.
my life in a slow hell. Different girl every night at the hotel.
Yeah.
Ain't seen the sunshine for 3 damn days.
Oh
That's not how it
man,
goes. But I'm just trying not to embarrass myself.
man, that like makes me like sad now. Like,
Well, they collabed. That's all.
yeah.
Who's to say? Well, she's still a classy lady.
Brian says Kid Rock is nasty. Stevie says money for nothing and your chicks for free. I think I played that on here once before.
I gotta say, one of the first times I tuned into your show, at least that I can remember, you played the Greatest American Hero theme,
Oh, no kidding,
and
really?
it was so cool to hear that because it brought back. My brother was a huge fan of that show when we were growing up. An older brother, kind of like you, my older brother, and and he yeah, it just reminded me of that. Sorry, everyone. We established earlier that Casey's the older brother in this family.
Not because I'm
Not
wiser,
by
but because I'm
much.
I'm literally just older. That's the only reason why.
And
Man.
mediocre's he's the young one. So there we go.
Uh,
Is mediocre still with us?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It says he's in here, but I don't think he actually is. So
He's laughing at me when I try to sing,
I
and
laugh at
rightfully so.
I laugh at myself when I
Rightfully
try to
so.
sing. So it's,
Well, at least you can play guitar. I
yeah.
had a trombone when I was yeah, and I was never any good at it.
Trump. Why
Every time it
trombone?
was our turn for us to, I wanted to be percussion. I wanted to play the drums, and it was one of those things my hometown had 700 people. My
Mm,
graduating high school class had 13 people.
mm,
13 people in my grade 12 graduating class, and nobody failed. So, basically, if everyone didn't contribute to everything, you didn't have something. So if not everyone played baseball, you didn't have a baseball team. Not everyone played hockey, you didn't have a hockey team. So we all had to play in band, and it became mandatory. And of course, I was helping my father with harvest, so I missed the first couple of sessions of band. So when I showed up from helping the dad on my dad, we're grain farmers, right? When I grew up, so I'd come off the field and they'd sent me into school, and the only instrument left was the trombone. So I was told you're going to be on the trombone. I looked up, and the guys who were in the trombone section were two guys that were friends of mine, and they were complete just uh, they didn't take anything serious. So I
crack
thought, oh boy,
ups.
this will be fun.
Yeah.
Crack ups, and it turns out none of us had any interest in playing the trombone. So every time we'd go through the section to kind of get warmed up, we were always cleaning our slides or cleaning out our spit traps or whatever the heck it was. Just coincidentally, everything was disassembled, and we were always doing something on maintenance. It was embarrassing.
Mm,
And we went to actual competitions, and we were terrible. I shouldn't laugh, but I had no interest in it. I wanted to play drums. If I had been there, could have had a shot at it, but you got to eat, right?
yeah.
Got to get the crop in.
So my son just tried out for band here, and he wants to play drums as well. And I could tell how the tryout went that he probably isn't going to make it. I hope he does. I really hope he does, but I don't think he's going to make it. But so they had him try out a bunch of different instruments, and so we had him rank the instruments out of all the ones that he tried. And after drums, it comes, I think it was tuba, and then after tuba, I think bassoon were his favorites. And I told my wife before we got into any of this, I said, if he doesn't do well in in drums, I don't think he's gonna like any other instrument. I just don't think that he's going to care. And I said the last thing I want to see have happen is for him to wind up on the tuba because he's a big kid. He's the kind of guy that can hold a tuba. and I told her, I said, I just don't want to see him get stuck on an instrument that he doesn't want to be on. So
Right.
I'm really hoping he gets the drums, but I'm afraid that he's going to end up winding up being the tuba player.
And that's a big thing to haul around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was no fun either, because we rode the bus to school. So I had to carry that trombone case on the bus there and back. Man, forget it.
Yeah.
But
Brian's good.
no, I have nothing intelligent to add.
Pumpy says Casey says his own son can't make it. 100% burn. It's not. It's just I'm a musician. I'm a musician, Pumpy, and I saw how the interview went or the tryout went, and it's not a burn. It's just that he wasn't prepared like he needed to be for it, and that was kind of a little bit my fault, but because of the fact that like I didn't realize he wanted to try out for drums until like the very last second, and so because it was a surprise to me, I didn't have an opportunity to be able to give him a chance to prepare. So when they do the different skill sets that they want to see if if your left brain and right brain can separate between keeping time on a right foot and being able to pat between two your left and right hand. Um, he kind of struggled at that at first, and that would have been a great thing with a little bit of practice. A lot of people can just they're able to pick it up over some time. So if I'd had some more time to focus and work with him, he probably could have gotten in, but I just didn't find out till too late.
I'm getting cracked up on Jay Beeb's comment. You should check that one out.
Outside. Whatever happened to dog houses? I feel like nobody has dog houses anymore. You know what I mean? Like legit, who has a dog house anymore?
Yeah, we were on a farm, so we had a doghouse.
Yeah,
We had a big Saint Bernard, and he patrolled the yard. His name was Bruno.
that's my
Bruno
dog's
was
name.
awesome. Is it really?
Yeah, it's Bruno.
Then we had a Dalmatian after Bruno, and they're one of the stupidest dogs you'll ever come across. They're beautiful, but oh man, are they stupid. And her name was Molly, and Molly was a good dog. Yeah. Bruno, look at that, huh?
So, when you say stupid, because I've owned a stupid dog before, and I just want to see if your take on stupid's the same as mine. You let him out to go to the
Okay.
bathroom, and a plane flies overhead. What happens?
We never had. I don't know. We were never in that situation. I'm trying to imagine what Molly would have done.
If
Um,
if Molly went to go drink water and was thirsty, did anything strange happen?
no.
No.
Okay, I guess she wasn't that stupid. No, I guess you're going to a level that I didn't think.
I had a dog
No.
literally would go to drink water and choke while drinking the water because she'd forget to breathe.
Oh, okay. No. So, okay. Maybe
Yeah,
Bruno was just super smart.
and then
But I go ahead. Go ahead.
one time I let her outside, or not one time, but a lot of times I would let her outside to go to the bathroom. Like she's prancing at the door, like I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go. I'd let her outside, and she runs outside, and a plane would fly overhead. She'd look up at it, which most dogs don't typically do, but she'd look up at the plane, and then she'd like kind of look back at me, and then come running back, and never having done her business, wants to come back inside. And I'm like, no, you wanted out. Well, all right, fine, whatever. And so I let her in, and then 2 seconds later, like, oh, let me back out, let me back out. I gotta go. I forgot. It was bad.
I got to say the one thing about the Dalmatian Molly that I really liked was, I mean, it was a great dog, but I had this buddy, and his girlfriend, and the dog did not like the girlfriend. So whenever they'd come over and hang out, they'd sit down each beside each other on the couch. And Molly she loved this guy. So she would jump up on the couch and sit like a human being and wedgie her back in between them, just wedgie, 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 wedgie until she'd finally force the lady, not going to say names, to actually move over so that Molly could be between them. And then she'd just sit there and stare at the at the girlfriend, just turn her head and just stare at her. And Ian, oh, I said the name. My buddy would just laugh his butt off, and he'd just be like, "Oh, you're such a good dog. Look at you. Keep this evil girlfriend away." And then she'd just get really mad. Every time he came over, that had to be the case. She had to separate them. Nobody else. Yeah, I always like that.
That's cute.
It's funny.
Brian Carpenter says they used to sell houses at Ace Hardware. I honestly don't. I don't know anybody who has a doghouse anymore. I don't know anybody. Not a single person.
Yeah, we built our own. Huh. Look at Hoback 718 trying to get us back on stocks. What the heck?
Let me read this. How can they manipulate the consolidated price? In other words, like, for example, do you mean like the SPY, if that's what he's talking about?
Yeah, I think he's talking about like with all the different exchanges. They all, at the end of the day, come in. How do they agree the price is 1684? Because they're not all coming in exactly the same price, right?
Right. Every stock's different, so it's an average price. It's a conglomerated price based off of the performance of all the stocks that are inside. So you have to have, like, there's a lot of different stocks. The way that I think that the price is determined, because I think he's talking about, like, if you were to look at something like the SPY, right? The SPY is like the top, what is it, 100, or is it 50 or 100 companies inside the S&P 500? I forget if it's top 50 or top 100. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let's see.
Isn't the S&P 500?
Yeah, it is S&P 500, but I wasn't sure if it's the top. Oh, is it the top 500? 500. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
the
I don't know what.
500 largest companies. Yep.
Right. That's okay. So yeah. So I think it's just like I think it's a. I actually don't know. I don't know the answer. That's a great question. Actually, it's a question that came up last night, or no, this weekend that I was having with Froggy, and because they were talking about the options that are played on, say, for example, like the SPY, and suggesting that it would control price with the options. And I was like, well, I don't think that's necessarily the case, because it's a total price average, I think, of the S&P 500. So I actually don't know the answer. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see if I can look it up. Hold on a second. Unless Pantheon, unless you have an answer.
I don't. Sad to say.
The calculation takes the number of
Yes.
outstanding shares of each company and multiplies that number by the company's current share price or market value. Since the S&P 500 is a free float market capitalization weighted, the market capitalization only includes the shares that are actively available in the market. So yeah, it's an average. And each company that has shares in there is like a weighted average.
That makes sense.
Which means that that any kind of options that are traded on a ETF like that shouldn't have any effect on price whatsoever, because it's a weighted uh, price based off the actual stock value. Shouldn't. So are the algos running on each exchange or at the point of consolidation point? I think I think they're just trade. I think the algorithms are mostly traded on just each individual um, on each individual security. I don't think I don't think that I don't think that there's like any kind of algorithmic type trading affecting like the average price of the entire market.
I'm staying clear of algorithm conversations. There's some pretty touchy people on those topics.
Five nine 22 Q1 2022 earnings release projected. That would be next week. Is that for AMC? Because I thought aren't we having our earnings report on the dang it, it was like the first week of June, right? June 5th? No, it's either June 5th or 6th, I think. Let me check AMC's website. Actually, I probably won't be able to get this answer out in time.
Yeah, we're running tight, aren't we?
Yeah, it's getting real close here.
I like the idea of stacking that first week of June. Let's put everything there.
Um, of course. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it in enough time here. I've only got like 30 seconds left, or maybe 40.
Yeah, Habib's saying that you're very boring today. Habib, that's because I'm here. I'll
No,
take
it's
I'll take full responsibility and credit for boring you today, Habib.
no, it's my I'm on pain medication right now, Habib. For everybody who's listening, I'm on pain medication, and I'm certainly not feeling myself. That's for sure. Um, and then mixing alcohol with painkillers is probably not the best either. But you know, that's what we do. We live on the edge. Yeah, nobody ever mentioned them living on the
That's right.
edge.
Nobody said Aerosmith.
Nobody said Aerosmith.
Too
How do
much
you guys?
too much love on an elevator. That's what's going on here, folks. Jay Beebs, have a nice evening. Habib, we're just playing back with you, Habib. We're just kidding around back. Don't take anything I say serious unless it's DD. If we're just sitting here shooting the breeze about stuff, I'm a smartass.
All right. Well, it's time to wrap up the day here, guys. Pantheon. I'm going to turn you down for just a minute so the music doesn't blast everybody. But you guys, you know what time of the day it is. Eat, sleep, drink, get plenty of rest. It is that time of the day. Spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, spend time with your pets. You know, trip on them in the middle of the night if you want. But above all else, don't have a good day. Have a great day.
T-minus 90 seconds and counting. All systems are go. We're about 90 seconds from the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are transferring to orbiter internal power at this time. Discovery is now running off its 3 onboard fuel cells. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start. And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 17 seconds and counting. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
Casey.
Separation confirmed. Guidance now converging. Discovery's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to swivel, aiming the shuttle for its precise target in space for main engine cutoff.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.